Hey, I'm Marcus Weldon.
And I'm Phil Reid, and this is
the Director's Cut on Trades.
All right.
Let's get it.
We have a dynamic guest today. I've had the pleasure of knowing this gentleman for quite some time. He was a mentor to me in high school, back as when he was a senior, mentoring the young freshmen in sports endeavors, and that's wrestling for anyone that's taking notes there. So without further ado, Nick, thanks for joining us. Nick Chapital.
Thank you, Phil. I'm Nick Chapital. I'm the assistant business manager of Local 58. That's IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I also run the Department of Organizing for business development and membership development. So I'm basically the biggest recruiter for the electricians in southeastern Michigan.
Okay, all right. So before we, because that's a mouthful right there. So before I start talking to you and asking you about, your recruitment efforts and how you're focusing that, I'm interested to know what drew you into the electrical trade. What made you just wake up one day and say, you know what, that's what I'm going to do?
Well, that's a story in itself. Like a lot of people, we go through high school looking for that path, not really sure, but we need some further education. So I took off. I left for Michigan State. Went there just to learn. Didn't have a pathway there. Didn't do so well. I was wrestling out there also. And I said, okay, well, this is not working out. New experience away from home, not knowing, just pissing time away. And I went to three schools. Went there, Colorado, went to Metro State College, Colorado Buffaloes and Metro State College, and just money was just going. It was just going, and I wasn't getting anywhere fast. My father, and this is the thing, not really paying attention. My father worked for a man from his old Air Force days that was a contractor, an electrical contractor. And it was like, okay, when I came back, he was like, well, how about you try this? Because you're just floating around. And that's how I stumbled onto it. And it was just funny. It's like, I was around it, like we're all around these orange Christmas trees, this construction all the time, and not really even considering it because my instructors were all college grads. So they're going to teach what they know.
Mm-hmm.
So you bypass it. You don't really think it's not on the top of your mind. But I got in 96. Haven't looked back.
That's I'm gonna make a quick comment on that one. That's one thing that high school, they pretty much should be called college prep, because that's what they do. They try and prep kids to go to college. And in every instance, college isn't for everyone. Not everyone is going to thrive in college. And then, even though college might be for some, the route that they take, they choose majors that's not going to make them any money. It's just going to cost money.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to go spend $40,000-$50,000 a year on school and then get out and start making $43,000 a year. That's tough.
And still owe all those loans. That was crazy. Still paying everything back, trying to figure it on out. They're not promising a job, so it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
One thing it is promised is debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is promised debt. I mean, actually, this morning, right before we jumped on here, I was looking on Marcus's on his LinkedIn page. And he had a picture of him standing in front of 3 boilers, and it just said, not everybody, and they had a quote, and I forget the guy's name, but it said, not everybody's gonna go to school and thrive in college. Teach them to go out and get a trade. And I think that really embodies our whole world. I think you and I briefly touched on this, Nick. Just in IBEW 58, in the next 5 years, what percent of people are probably going to be retiring out of IBEW, and what does that do for your needs in terms of as a recruiter, and what are you doing to try and combat that?
There's a lot of major factors, but in the next 5 to 7 years, we're going to lose 50% of our workforce. Ensure that we're going to have people coming on in. But if you don't look at the demographics of everything, even the age gap, there's a huge age gap between 25 and 35 right now. I think in America, it was around 7% of the people are between that age. And, you start thinking about it, I think about all of my colleagues and people, they're not either having children or they have one child. So there's nobody there. It's not that the younger generation doesn't want to work. They're not there. And how do you combat that when you're trying to keep people going, keep people in the trades when they're not there? So now we're reaching out more to not just young people, but more people that we're not even looking at, more people that we're not even considering. Women, armed services, we have programs for that. Women make up 52% of the population in America, 46% of the workforce in America, yet in the construction, they make up 4.4%. Why is that? That's not that exposure. It's the exposure that we have to reach out to them. And we are a 5,000 person local. In Local 58, I have 165 women. That is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. So we've been reaching out to a lot of women and a lot of demographics, even in the jail system. So, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people that say, they worry about that. These returning citizens are top notch. You've given people a second chance, just like the older generation, a second chance in life to feed their families, build on their future. They're going to be there for you. They're
Let me talk on that. Let me ask some more questions on that, because that's an interesting point that, I didn't think to bring up, but so returning citizens, I know in many cases, if you've gone up, that means you're a felon. Returning citizens are able to go through the program and get licensed.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The only restrictions that any returning citizen has is upon customer requirements. So if you were a sexual offender, you're not going to be able to work at active schools, brand new schools, but not active schools.
Construction sites, stuff like that you can do, but no, that's good news to hear, because I thought, because most state licenses, I was told, or I thought, you could not hold once you became a felon. But truthfully, a lot of kids and a lot of people become felons because they're trying to feed their families, just like you said. And so now, if you're saying, look, hey, this is a route, this is what you can do to go ahead and get that extra money, or get that money to feed your family, then like you said, people are top notch, and they can make good money. What does a starting apprentice make?
All right, we have on average for all trades, it's from $12. I think it moved up to 14 this year, to $22. Now that is on your check. So take bars, for instance, we start you out at $20.20. And then off the check, we're building into your retirement, your all these benefits that you have. That's 25 additional dollars that you don't see, that's off your check, that's building into your future.
Nick, is that just in Michigan?
In Michigan, so, well, I represent the union. So representative workers rather than non-representative workers. So we go to where your area is, your standard living, and that's where we base upon our costs and our wages on, so that you can survive in the area that you're at. I've worked all over the country. And I've managed be married, have 4 children, raise them. Those 2 households, even at a lower wage, because the demographics and the area and the finances of the area allow me to send money home to pay for everything here. So yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I know a couple returning citizens that I'll definitely be referring this way for sure. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. And then there's the other issue, and that's for all workers, not just for represented union workers. But we strive because our wages are a lot higher in comparison and allow people to have a living wage. But do you want to be in this trade? And that is something that you'll hear more about pre-apprentice, because they're trying to figure out, what do you want to do? I want to work with my hands. I don't know if I want to be an electrician.
Right.
So we build these programs so we can find the niche that will fit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the Jackson Prison has a program, and I think this was recently implemented within the past 10 years. And Nick, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the Parnell Correction Facility. And I toured the prison about 2 years ago, and what they got is basically non-violent felons or people who are ready to pretty much be released within that year and a half time frame. They bring them into a facility that's part of the Jackson prison, and they integrate them back into life. So they allow them to basically walk around without, major security, and they teach them a trade. They got DTE there to sponsoring it. They got tree trimming. They got coding. They have classrooms. Like literally, when you're walking in this place, it's like walking into. I don't want to compare it to a college campus because but you're kind of like in that school mode where they're in the hallways. They're walking to class. They got to be there on time. They got, they're still in their scrubs but there's no armed guards walking around with shotguns. And it was pretty remarkable. And one thing that was really, really remarkable was the tree trimmers. So they had these trees inside the facility, and DTE will bring their professional guys that worked out in the field onto the site and have competitions with the inmates on who can trim the tree the fastest. And guess who won every single time?
The inmates?
Yeah, the inmates. They ran circles around them. So yeah, I just wanted to add that about working into the people in the prisons, they are still human beings.
Absolutely. And that program is ran out of our sister local. The DTE is IBEW Local 17. They run it out there, and those are vocational villages. So there's one out there. There's one that I attend regularly in Ionia, and they have those programs also. And then they send me a list of graduates of everybody. And it's like, oh, you're going to do this big influx. I was like, how many people do you think that are being released, let alone in the electrical trade, and have to live in the Detroit area, so It's like, we make those pathways. The one I'm working on is in Huron Valley, the women's facility. They have a vocational village, but nothing for construction. So I say, we've got to make those steps. Like I said, I'm trying to create a better demographics. And when you have better demographics, you have more people that want to come that way, as well as more comfortability, because you're only going to go where you're feeling comfortable.
Right.
And it's more profitable. It's more profitable for our companies by far. If you look at any statistics of any business, the more diversified that you are, you're going to have more money. You're going to have more customers, because even customers reflect upon who they see.
So let's talk about demographics a little bit. I mean, do you have those stats to where you can tell us what the demographics are in Local 58?
Local 58, we run around 5%, 5 to 6% in our apprenticeship for women. We run right around 25% for non-white males. And we're trying to increase that. It's the identity where you can see versus what people want to talk about. And the problem is you take that number for our apprenticeship, and then I go into the mass of the not IBEW, but of the total graduates. And our numbers go down for women because there's a retention factor.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to do a lot more. On my staff, on my immediate staff, I have 3 dynamic sisters, Felicia Wiseman, Kim LaRue, and Jeanette Bradshaw. All 3 of them are officers of the local. So they were voted in, and they know the importance of it and the importance of what I was talking about. So we go out to a lot of boards, a lot of conferences, trying to figure out retention, because women in our local generally are the only woman on the job site. So it's hard. It is very hard for them to adapt and not rock the boat. Everybody feels like I'm rocking the boat because I'm the only one there. So we're trying to make a better environment for them, and also bring people in.
Sorry, and I was going to say, when we were thinking the same thing, environment. Construction sites traditionally have been demeaning. Like when you think about like on TV and you see construction workers all the cat calls and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then for some women, I have to imagine that it is, kind of the thought process of is like, that's not, it's tough. I can't be a lady. So, and be myself while also, being a construction worker type. And I think that's something that society's kind of pushed historically, but that's something that we have to get past. And there's a lot of earning opportunities and earning potential out there for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a cultural thing. So, and you hear out there 87% of a woman makes 87% of what a man makes.
Right.
Okay. And so with being union, you make the same amount. We make the same amount that a man makes. In construction, we work ourselves out of a job. So we have more women coming on in and saying, okay, well, I don't want to be laid off first either. So we build these programs and saying, okay, listen, and trying to change the culture starts at the bottom as well as at the top. We always say, hey, well, it needs to start at the top. No, it starts simultaneously, all sides. Having a no tolerance, no harassment rules. And that goes for people of color, people with, there are so many dynamics that we go to. I know we don't have that much time. Right now, there is a huge push for us, for a lot of sisters around the country. And I'm pushing for leadership positions. I'm pushing that they can be supervisors, that they can be foremen. A lot of the sisters that make it in the trade, they're generally put on a truck and they work by themselves. And I'm trying to bring that back in where they're running 30, 40, 50 person groups. So it's saying, okay, look, this is what you strive for, because she's no different than anybody else, but I want it to be a regular thing. So it normalizes it for everybody.
Hey, Nick,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know if you know this about me. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. I actually work with a nonprofit called Redeem Detroit. And our target, we teach kids skill trades, and our target audience right now is women. And we actually have a pipeline that comes from Pathways Academy, which is a kind of an alternative school where the women in the high school that have children. So what the Redeem program has done now is given them the wraparound services to take care of the kids. A lot of these kids actually are also homeless, actual students. So of course they're homeless as well as their child. And give them the wraparound service, housing, food, then teach them the trades. We're sponsored with Train, and Train has given us the opportunity as far as grant funding, and we've got a couple of the girls in HVAC. But I would love to, you know, if you need a pipeline of students to talk to and get in the trade, you know, we're touching 2 generations at the same time, because you got the parent on one end, right, and then you got the child. So now you can kind of influence them as a baby to get ready for the trade. So just want to throw that out there.
Oh no, I would love for that opportunity, and you know, I said the sisters that work with me, definitely, and then they're organizers too. I call them recruitment officers because they're dynamic. We take the parent too. We'll take the parent and the child so they can grow together. And I know a lot of people frown and say, well, the union is about nepotism. I said, what do you mean by nepotism? I said, you mean like I'm going to get my child in, I'm going to go get my friends in? I said, okay, well, let me go to any business and see if there's not a family or friend that you're bringing in. That's a human, I don't want to say a flaw, but it is a human flaw that says we try to take care of our own. We're always going to try to take care of our own.
All right, well, Nick, you brought it up, so I got to touch on that too now. So unions, you know, from part of my understanding, unions were formed back in the day to keep certain people out, to keep nepotism going, you know what I mean? But that is, you know, that we're a long ways away from, you know, when the unions first started and stuff like that, and state licensing and blah, blah, blah. But since then, you're right. Nepotism lives in every place, because people like to work with who they're comfortable with. But seemingly what you're doing is you're saying, hey, it's not just nepotism. Yeah, I'm gonna bring my people in if they want to come in, but I'm reaching out to everyone, because like you said, you're going to lose 50% of your local in the next 5 to 7 years. So you don't have time to just say, all right, I'm gonna bring in my cousin here, and I'm gonna bring in, you know, all that. You're like, I'm taking whoever. I mean, and that shows, because you talked about returning citizens. You talked about, you know, many different people, many different avenues and ways of trying to get membership, women, people of color, all of the above. So sounds like you are just making all kinds of pushes, just trying to get everyone in.
It makes it difficult, because you're reaching all the way on out there. My main focus right now is women all over the country. So I just attended a conference out in Vegas. It is the biggest conference in the building trades, 3,300 attendees. It is Trades Women Build Nations. Out of that 3,300, you're talking about 3,200 are women. So it was like, okay, it's a big dynamic. Here it is, all of these women, 337,000 women in construction. Why do we have such a low number? That's 4.4%. Why do we have such a low number? They can do the work. They are leaders. President Joe Biden says, hey, listen, my vice president is going to be a woman, flat out. Said it in the very beginning. I mean, I applaud him for that. It's like, hey, because there are so many people say, oh, well, why? Why would you cut off? Why? Because it has to be done. And that's what we're doing here. Either you evolve or you dissolve. That's your 2 choices. So we're doing straight with that. Going after the sisters out there, reaching out to underserved populations and saying, you can do this work. We are looking into doing a program with the Girl Scouts. Our women's committee is doing a program with the Girl Scouts coming up in the spring, early spring. And so we're going to do hands-on, so that at an early childhood age, look, you can build things with your hands. You can do more than just sew, cook. What do we push them into? We put them in nursing, which is just funny, because my brother-in-law is a nurse, and my sister, she's a doctor. She's a surgeon. She runs the 3 hospitals in America. So it's like, look, this can be done. You have to give everybody an opportunity.
So how do I'm a young lady right now. I'm trying to figure out, you know, what direction I want to take my career. How do I get into the union? What's the first steps? You know, what do I do to get in? I want to be, I heard about this union. I want to be an electrician now. What do I do?
All right. You would get onto our website at www.detroiteitc.org. Right there, it's going to pull up our website, and it'll say apprenticeship right at the top. You click that, how to apply. You're going to create an account. You'll create an account, and there will be a certain time period that we bring people in. For the electrical union, we take your account all the time, but we only take applications when we have work. In the state of Michigan, you have to have a license. In order for you to have a license, you have to have hours. Well, you can only have hours if you're working. We're not going to bring you in just to give you book knowledge and you don't have field knowledge.
Yeah,
those go both hand in hand. We are actually opening applications the 21st, this Monday, right now. So fill out your application, send in your information. Make sure you have your GED or your high school transcripts. We have a lot of community groups out here that can help you out with that. So that's, everybody's like, stop giving me roadblocks and excuses. I'm going to give you a pathway to yes. People can accept no, they just want a pathway to yes. So here it is. My school burnt down. My school is no longer. My school is across the country. There are ways that you can get your GED as well as your high school transcripts online. And the name escapes me right now, but it is parchment.com. You go on parchment.com, look up your school. It's like a $5, maybe $6 fee, and they will send it right on over to the school that you want to. So it's official transcripts.
So what happens if that school closed down?
It will be in Parchment.
It'll still be in there.
It will have your records. Everything is on there. It's on records. They were supposed to upload and send records all in there. Or you go to your school district. Your district will still have to have the records. So that's who's supposed to send on over to Parchment, and they'll send it on over. So that's the same thing. We've been getting GEDs straight from these prison facilities, saying, okay, hey, here it is. Let's go on over there. We are building the groups. You have somewhere to go. If you're a veteran about to retire, we have programs going into, so you can go transition right into a trade. If you're a veteran that's been out for so long, not a problem. We still have programs and pathways to come on in.
Right. Yes, that's good to know. Now, so you said Monday, the 21st, you guys open up the application process. Then how long will that process be open? Is that
that will be one day. That is one day. Our website is on all year long, so you can create that account all year long. But when it opens up, it'll open up one day. So right now we're in Michigan. It'll slow down just a little bit because construction, they're trying to fill out the ground, and we'll open right back on up right around January again. This process, man, let me talk about the process because it's not like an immediate process. You fill out the application, you submit your transcripts. Once upon qualifications of everything that you have there, because in electrical trade, we are math invoked. It's not that you can't do it or anything like that. We have other sites that you can help you out. We have community groups that help you out. It's basic high school algebra. We're going to send you off for a test to make sure that you can transition right into that. The building trades, all of our apprenticeships, they are college accredited schools, so you get college credit for them.
get college credits? Yeah.
So you take the exam. Upon passing the exam, we bring you in for an interview. Once you get onto the interview, you're on a selection list. As soon as we have enough work, we pull you from that list. This process right here, it takes anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, depending on the workload. Right now, Michigan is about to start booming. They're getting ready for the Gordie Howe International Bridge that's going to expand even more. We're doing more work at hospitals right around, even in the Detroit area, as far out as solar fields out in St. Clair. So we are looking at a big dynamic of work right now, which is a big blessing for all of us. So find out what your trade is. You can get that on mustcareers.org. They will show you all 14 affiliates. Read upon them, see which one you want. If you're not sure, apply to multiple. Find your niche.
So go ahead, Marcus.
So, so if I'm trying to prep a student to get ready for this test, basic algebra, it sounds like your basic math skills is something that you need to kind of brush up on before you come take this test to get into the print. That's what you focus on, right?
Yes, right on our website, we have a practice test. This is the issue with the exam. We're looking into it a little bit more. People can do the math. It's like playing chess. They can play chess all day long. Then they go down to Hart Plaza and somebody pops up a clock on them and they break down. They fall apart. It's like, okay, I understand, because the test is 2 hours long, 88 seconds per question. And they're like, oh my gosh, am I not getting it? I'm not getting it. So it's a matter of muscle memory. So get on Khan Academy, get on electricprep.com. These sites here, they have these practice exams. Get with the community groups that are out there. There are so many community groups that are out there that will help you out with that we work with. It's like, get with them. They will help you. And heck, if you don't know, my number is 313-244-5533. That's 313-244-5533. Call me up. We'll make those connections for you.
Nick, I must say you have been this has been great. You have been giving out gems in terms of how people can go about getting in, resources to take the test. I'm loving that. Any other statistics or anything that you got hidden there that we haven't touched that you'd like to touch upon? I do want to open it up and make sure that we cover things that you'd like to talk about as well.
Well, one of the things that they talk about is tuition. Tuition for our school is different, different for all the trades. Our tuition currently right now is $100 a month. $100 a month. So let's take our 5-year program. That's $6,000 in 5 years. In that time, you go to school 1 day every other week. The rest of the time, we put you to work. 40 hours, 32 hours, 40 hours, 32 hours. So 5 years, $6,000 in tuition. If you work just that schedule, 40 and 32, not if you're working overtime or anything else, you will make over $250,000. So $250,000 for a $6,000 investment. That is just huge for us.
And no student loan debt.
And oh yeah, you're done. There's no debt. In fact, 2 of my classmates are bioengineers. I didn't even know what a bioengineer was, but they're working on electrical equipment in hospitals. They used this pathway, went and got college degrees right after. I think one was at went to the east side, Macomb Community College, and got these degrees, and they're working in hospitals. It's like that they found that enjoyment there. But they have that degree under their belt. Mm-hmm. So there are so many things that you can do. And then we continue on, we do continuing education. I take classes right now because if you didn't hear President Biden, and we have all these electrical vehicles out there, it is the EVITP program. So we're doing charging stations, charging pads for the roads all over the place. You have to be trained. You have to be up to date. Our school is dynamic and keeping the future alive. So we have a lot of our journey workers come back and they do just like that. I'm taking a class right now for electrical training. I want to be on top of you know, if I'm preaching electrician, I have to be on top of my game also.
I want to point something out. Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking it myself, but I want to point something out because you know, I work at U of M, and U of M is very progressive, and so a lot of that comes in just the terminology and things that you say. And so, you know, when talking with trade staff, I don't have any women on my staff in terms of trades and or you know, AMTs or maintenance mechanics, things of that nature. We did have one woman, but I saw how you just said journey workers as opposed to journeymen, and that's a small thing that not many people notice, but that to me goes and shows just the commitment. Because, you know, when I say trades, I don't say tradesmen, I say tradespeople, you know, as you know, because we are including everyone involved here, but that saying it differently is it might be considered a small step that people don't really care and recognize, but it shows that there is commitment to change and bringing in women to this. So I just want to say I can appreciate that.
Yeah, got to change the culture. We have to change the culture. So yes, definitely that. You know, and I've been working on that a lot. And like I said, I have a great team that works with me, and they're my support system. So here every day. So
let's talk about being an entrepreneur, because in this world, you know, you can make a fair wage, you can take care of your family, you can do a lot of different things. But if you become an entrepreneur, you can you know, make greater strides in that. So, you know, so becoming a journey worker is going through the 5-year program. And that's a $6,000 investment, like you talked about, but you're making all this money. And I'm sure as your years progress throughout the program, so does your pay and things of that nature, probably.
Yes.
Now, say someone has gone out and they are a journey worker. What is their next step towards being an entrepreneur? Say they want to go out and start their own electrical business. Do they have to go forward and become a master electrician first to be able to start their own business and pull permits and things of that nature? And then does IBEW have a pathway to a master electrician's license?
Absolutely. So here it is, and that's a lot of there's a lot of interesting factors in that. Once you become a journey worker, you do not need your master's to become an entrepreneur. If you're going to open up an electrical shop, you can open up an electrical shop. You need a contractor's license to do that. But to do electrical work, you need a master electrician on file, so somebody else can be your master. And we have a lot of people that they do that. I'm not going to say skeptical of it. Just make sure your checks and balances. You know, that's going to be a trust factor. You know, I prefer that the owner gets their master also, so they can do those checks and balances, because you're going to put a lot of investment in yourself. But to pull permits, you need your masters.
So how does one, you have to work under a master electrician for a certain amount of time and then you qualify, or does IBEW have a continuing education curriculum similar to the apprenticeship that gives people the pathway forward?
You need 8,000 hours, 4 years to get your license, electrical license. To get your master's, you need 2 more years and 4,000 hours. They're only going to allocate you 2,000 hours per year in the state of Michigan. So you can work 3,000, 4,000 a year, but it doesn't matter. They want the experience of time more than anything else. Every one of our contractors has a license, and they have a master's license on file that gives you your correct hours. You register as an apprentice. You have to register as an apprentice, letting the state know that you are moving towards this pathway. We have your continuing education classes in a master's program if you want to do that, as well as we have a program that actually is coming up for this January for contractors, teaching you how to be a contractor. We work with our partners hand in hand, National Electrical Contractors Association, or NECA. We work with them hand in hand, building these programs because we're building a farm team for the future. Let's expand. Let's get some more contractors. Like I said, our numbers of people retiring are going to be gone. That's the same thing with contractors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 80 to 90% of our contractors went through our program. 80 to 90% of them went through our program right now, and they're getting of that age too. So it's like build a farm team. Who's going to take over? Who's going to be next? Who's going to continue in the legacy, for the lack of better words? And so we're building these classes on up with this class is coming up with solar and electrical vehicles. This particular one, but contractors. It's about being a contractor to show you estimating. We have estimating classes. So it's like, okay. And that's working with our contractors, NECA over there. And we go hand in hand, and it's almost like a 3 kingdom society. We have our contractor side, we have our labor side, and we have our school. Well, that's just like the executive branch, the judicial branch, and a congressional branch of America. All 3 of us come together and form Voltron. So that's how it works for us. So every pathway you have in the electrical industry, we come together and we make it. Somebody asked me, was it last week, what's the difference between union and non-union or unrepresented? It's that choice and the voice that you have becoming union. A choice to your pathway, a choice of going to what jobs you want to go to, and your voice. It's all built upon your voice. The ability to vote, the ability to say, this is what I want for my education, for my contract. You have a voice. And those voices have been heard constantly and saying, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? And that's why we're out here. That's why we're building. Why don't we have more women in the trade? That's why we're out here.
The way you speak of Local 58 IBW, I mean, I would think that you're the president. You know what I mean? Like, you are very much so well versed with the programs that you're doing, but I guess that's your position. But also you're very passionate about it. You know, like, this is, you know, like, it's like you're like, hey, I want to grow this. You're taking that personal. You know what I mean? I you know, if you're not the president, I want to see how the president talks about it. You know what I'm saying? About that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Like I said, I've been standing on big shoulders of great people. Paul Van Oss is my business manager. He's the chief officer. My president is Kimberly LaRue. She works alongside with me. Felicia Wiseman, as I was saying before, she is the treasurer. My recording secretary is Jeanette Bradshaw. They with me. These are dynamic people. And I've worked with business manager Brian Richard before that, dynamic in organizing. Mike Richard, dynamic in organizing. Both of them are on to bigger and better things, and they moved on. These are dynamic people that were here, but it started with when Mike Richard asked me to come on board as a representative. And I was hemming and hawing, and I called up my father, and my father said, you don't have a choice. You owe it to the people who got you here to reach back.
Lift as you climb.
And I took the position. And I haven't looked back. Well, I constantly look back. It's a little bit less stressful, but I haven't looked back, because change one life. Oh, the feeling that you get from that is just wonderful. It is wonderful. So that's where my passion builds upon. Just hearing people saying, hey, thank you for hearing me, listen to me, or providing me with the pathway, even though I may not have taken it, but doing that. Absolutely. I'm trying to get you a date for that class, but for the contractors class, but now I'm working with the person I work with. Well, I work with several people over at NICA, but Jason Head, who is the assistant executive chair over at NICA, we used to work together in the field. So the pathways are endless. You could be a journey worker one day, and here you are running the contractor side of things with a different point of view. And we work well together. We move forward. We move the ball forward all the time. It may not be straight, but it's forward, because his opinion and my opinion, so it moves side to side, but we are moving forward. And with the leadership of Paul Van Oss, this thing has been great. This has been a great movement for these past year and a half. Or it's been a year and a half.
And I'll also say one more thing. I noticed how you talked about getting people into the trades. You earlier in the conversation didn't specifically say getting people into IBEW. You said you want to get people into the trades, which is a big deal. And you said find your path. You gave multiple avenues for people to look and see what would fit them. And so that's you coming from a trades perspective overall, and not just from the IBEW side of things. But will you touch briefly on that, why you're saying, hey, all trades?
All trades, because it's dynamic. So I go to a lot of job fairs. Our team goes to a lot of job fairs, and you see young people, you see people that want to engage young adults, older adults, and they say, okay, well, I want to get into trades. I want to build with my hands. I say, well, that is great. Here at IBEW, I'm looking for electrical workers. That's what I'm looking for. If you're a carpenter and you want to come here and get a job, you will be exposed really quick, because your passion will not be there. It will show in your work. And the only thing I want is electrical workers, because we take pride in our work. I can't sell carpenter electrical work. If you're a carpenter, stick to carpentry. If you're an electrical worker, here you are. We're going to build these pathways. My son right now is interested in being an iron worker. What am I to say? I can't bring my son in because you're an iron worker. Let's go and check them on out. Let's see what they do. So these are dynamics. I say I have great relationships with all Filtine affiliates, the building trades with Pat Devlin, that's led by Pat Devlin. He comes down here and says, hey, let's build some programs. Let's go out into the community and show them what we can do. And so that's what we do. That's where it's built upon. And I just want somebody to take those steps moving forward, whatever it is, have that pathway. Do I want everybody to be an electrical worker? Yes, absolutely. But I want you to be happier more than anything.
Yeah. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And I was actually going to ask you, about kind of, is there a competition between unions to recruit? Because obviously all unions right now are in turmoil. I mean, you can't find trade iron workers, you can't find them in electrical workers, So for you to say that, you're like, hey, getting which one that you feel suits best for you. I mean, obviously you want to recruit people to IBM or IBEW, but if your passion lies somewhere else, go for it. I mean, everybody right now is in disarray when it comes to finding workers in the skilled trade. So that's a good approach.
And that's why this podcast kind of was born, because we know from our experience in trying to get trades in to do the work that we need,
right?
Everyone is hurting, and prices are going up more and more because of material, and you gotta keep workers there. People are like, they're passing up jobs for more lucrative jobs. So we're like, man, women, Black people, other minorities, brown, whatever, get in the trades. These are jobs that you can feed your families on. you know, and yes, there's some stories where you get laid off during times, you know what I mean? But there's opportunities to make really, really good money and provide for your family.
Absolutely. So you mentioned layoffs and time, and I want to make sure everybody's understanding about the construction trades. Our job is to work ourselves out of a job. Our job is to work ourselves out of a job. Our wages are built upon, just like the school industry, 9 months out of the year in Michigan, because our jobs are to work ourselves out of a job. Winter comes, it slows some of these things down. Fortunately for us, we have the Huntington place where they do a lot of shows and we do a lot of work there, like the auto show and everything else. But our job is to work ourselves out of a job. So in doing that, you have wages, we have programs, we have we have partners with our bank institutes that they have financial literacy. That's the most important thing I tell everyone. Get your financial literacy together so you can prepare yourself. And right now we are working great. 2002 to 2000, I want to say 10, 11. I happened to work on the road. I was not home as much. There was no work here, but I had a union ticket in my pocket and I can call up any other city and they had work, open arms, and I worked and managed to feed my family. And that's a big union difference. It was not, I didn't have any more interviews or anything like that. That was a union difference. A lot of people went out to Vegas and they built the stadium and they built more casinos out there and they loved it. You know, I had children. I try to keep close so I can be at home in the drop of a dime. I think my limit was 9 hours. I can drive 9 hours sleepy and make it home. So not now. I'm a lot
Say
older.
better you than me. I can't do it.
I'm a lot older now. It's 4 hours. So, but yes,
That's some good stuff.
So
I've been taking a lot of detailed notes, man. This is good.
This has been excellent, and I'm happy that you joined us because I think this is a very dynamic show. We talked about a lot, but the best thing is that there's a lot of information here that people will absolutely learn from and be able to utilize and go make the decision to see what trade is best for them. And if they feel that the electrical trade is best for them, then they can come and talk to you and see about trying to, obviously go through the path of getting on the site and all that, but come talk to IBW and see about changing their life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, call me about the electrical trade, call me about any trade, and we will go on over there. I will introduce you to people that will suit you. Just like I'm recruiting a lot of women to come into the trade, I have a dynamic team of sisters that I bring along with me because sometimes I can't make those connections. You need to see somebody who is successful in the trade, that looks just like you, or that has the same religion as you, has the same feelings as you. These things are huge. It is amazing every day when I go out to meeting women or young ladies that are in school and they are surprised. Well, you mean I can do this? And like, yes, here, talk to Sister Wiseman, Sister LaRue, Sister Bradshaw. And those are just three that work with me all day long, but we have plenty of great stories. And on our website, on that DetroitEITC.org, when you look up there, there's a video on the bottom under apprenticeship. It's called A Day in the Life of an Electrical Apprentice. And it'll take 3 people and you can watch that video. It's maybe about 7 minutes long. That'll show you what they go through. Child care, how early we get up, what we're doing. It's something new every day. That's why I love the trade. I can, that's my instant. I can turn around, I see where I started, see where I finished. That's my instant gratitude right there. It's like, okay, there's my accomplishment for the day. So those those are the things that you can do. So I invite people to look at those videos. And we have plenty of videos there, but that one in particular.
Well, Nick, I want to thank you for two things. Number one, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast and talking with us and educating us about IBEW. It is I think this is going to be very helpful to a lot of people. And then second, I want to thank you for being a mentor to me in high school and showing me how to cut weight in wrestling and helped me be the wrestler that I was back then. Appreciate it.
Love you, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you both bringing me on here. I am very passionate about it. Anytime and anybody has any questions, my number again is 313-244-5533. It is very important for us to help our community out into the future. And even if it's not in construction and you're having questions about other things, we connect with so many people, we can find you a pathway.
Now tell them what your business hours are, so you're not getting any errant calls at 11 o'clock at night. You know, I don't want you to have to hang nobody out the window like Big Red.
Well, my local is fortunate enough to tell me that my phone's on all the time. So you can call me on up. I will return calls within 24 hours. My team returns calls within 24 hours. That is our golden rule. Return calls, make contact within 24 hours.
All right. Well,
I would definitely be reaching out, man. I appreciate it. I definitely think we have some like-minded goals when it comes to getting the women in the trade. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you on that end too and seeing it any way I can help.
Perfect.
All right. Well, it sounds like another one in the books. Nick, I have a feeling that we will probably reach back out to you in the future as we continue just to check on things, see how things are going, you know, talking about electrical infrastructure, EV. The country's going to be pushing to more sustainable energy practices and things of that nature, and how that affects the IBEW. Like you said, there's a multitude of things that we can talk about, but we'll say that we'll keep everybody on the hook and say that for the next go round.
All right. I appreciate you once again bringing me on, and I thank everybody. And remember, IBEW is the right choice.
All right. Well, that sounds like it was another successful show, so I'm good. I'm satisfied.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Director's Cut on Trades.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Peace.